Hi, I'm Julie McCluskey, Director of Communications and Community Engagement for Summit School District, and today we're doing a spotlight on Upper Blue Elementary School. I'm joined by Kerry Buhler, our wonderful principal there, and Susie Quinn Fortner, who wears a couple of different hats, both art teacher and our PYP coordinator. And we'll be talking about what that means in just a minute. But first, let's talk to Kerry just a little bit about what Upper Blue Elementary School is all about. So Kerry, tell us about the vision and mission for Upper Blue Elementary.
Well, when we think about the mission and vision for Upper Blue, we think of our mission as our heart. What's at our heart about kids. And for us, it's really, I could quote our mission, but really it's about meeting kids where they are and taking them as far as possible in the ways that they want to go, in the ways that we know that they need to go in terms of their learning and growing. But our mission is really our heart. And then when we think about vision, we think about, so if people were going to talk about us, or if we were thinking about 5 years or 10 years down the road, what would we want people to say? And so we want Upper Blue to be the school where everyone wants their kids to go. And get the best education they can.
That's terrific.
Yes.
I think you're already there. I think everybody loves Upper Blue and everybody wants to go there. Well, I like that. Thank you. The way you framed it as both our heart and what we want to be. How many kids are at Upper Blue Elementary? And tell us a little bit about demographics. What makes up your community?
So we have close to 300 students in preschool through 5th grade. We have 2 preschools, 2 kinders, 2 1st grade, 2 2nd grade, 3 3rd, 3 4th, and 2 5th grades. So we've grown quite a bit in the last 3-4 years. We're up about 75 students from where we were before. Our demographics, we pull from all across the county, as well as from Park County. We have actually almost like 33% of our kids come from someplace else. So I like to say that 33% of our kids, more than 1 in 3, choose to come to Upper Blue.
I like
so
that.
We're, promising, or we're fulfilling the promise on our vision. As far as some of the other demographics, we have about 35% of our kids that are free and reduced lunch. So we're serving a population that has some needs, and then our language learners are about 33% too. So it's interesting how it's somewhat similar.
Yeah. I know one of the advantages in living in Summit County is the great diversity that we have. I didn't realize you had so many students that were out of your boundaries, but to hear that we have students coming from Fair Play, I think that's great. Certainly serving students here, I'm guessing their families might work here, and there's a reason why it makes good sense for them besides you being such a terrific school. And we often talk about the district demographics reflecting what's going on in the county. Both your number of students on free and reduced lunch, English language learners, I'm guessing your minority populations also mirror what's going on here in Summit County. How does that enrich the learning for other students?
Well, one of the things we've been able to do last year and this year was add a district or a school liaison, someone who speaks Spanish. We'd love for someone who could speak all the languages of our kids and our families, but we do have a Spanish-speaking interpreter, family liaison now, and I think that has helped us to further convey the message to our families that every single one of them is important. It's a lot more comfortable for them to come into school now and know that someone can speak to them a lot better than I can. And so I think, we value the demographics that we have at Upper Blue. I think it does enrich every student. When we talk about the PYP program in a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about, understanding other people's perspectives. And certainly when you have kids that come from different places and from different experiences and from different countries, you're going to get those multiple perspectives. And our kids live in a small place, and they really need that.
Oh, I like that, and I do think many of our elementary schools have that advantage of, you're right, Spanish is probably the predominant other language spoken in our community, but we've got more than 25 languages spoken in the district and families from all over the world. So it is a tremendous asset in learning and being able to share cultures and traditions. Tell us about the academic program, Kerry. What is it that Upper Blue offers students? As adults, we remember reading, writing, and math, but I think that our public education program has really advanced from beyond, I should say, those core academics. Tell us everything that's offered at Upper Blue.
Well, just like all the public schools in Colorado, we base all of our instruction and our curriculum materials and our programming around our state standards. But the magic, I think, that happens at Upper Blue around that is really what you see in classrooms. It's different. I've been doing this for a while, and walking into classrooms now is different. So, for example, during reading or literacy instruction, for one thing, it's very much integrated. It's not, okay, now we're just going to read and now we're just going to write. Everything is really transdisciplinary, which we'll talk about with PYP as well. But really trying to get kids to increase their depth of knowledge so that, it's not just about, oh, great, I can read 25 words in 3 seconds. It's about really that proficiency long-term in understanding. So depth of knowledge we talk a lot about. It's about being a thinker, and it's deeper thinking than we've heard before. And what's different in the classroom is the amount of talking that's going on during
now that's
literacy instruction.
How is there more talking?
So when, I used to walk into classrooms and it'd be pretty quiet. I mean, everybody was doing their thing. There might be a teacher with a small group, and that still happens. But what you'll see many, many times is that there's a lot more collaborative work with kids. There's a lot more collaboration even in whole group instruction. Kids are turning and talking. Kids are having discourse. They're citing something that somebody else told them rather than just, I know the answer. There's a lot less hand raising. It's all about every student in the classroom is responsible for what the conversation's about and what the learning's about. It's really great for our language learners because they're hearing a ton of language all day long. So I think that has increased it for all kids. Our math program, I think what's different about math than, although parents would probably say, what are you doing in math? It's different than when I went to
2
school.
2 + 2 = 4.
Right. So the idea is that there are different ways to solve problems, and we honor that, and we teach different ways for kids to solve problems, and then know that they'll do it the way that makes sense to them.
Oh, that's great.
So, which is wonderful. And then trying to integrate, math into as many things as possible. And then really outside of that, everything is delivered, through our units of inquiry, integrating literacy and math into those. But that's really that inquiry approach to learning. It's about discovering things in a different way. You might be studying solids and liquids, but the way they're going about that is a different way. Kids are asking questions. They're wanting to discover things on their own. We're not just doing a little experiment, writing up the notes, doing an experiment, writing up the notes. So, that's what's really changed. And then the technology integration too. Lots more research. Everything is accessible so easily now. We just have to teach kids how to do that well and to do it responsibly.
Listening to you talk, Kerry, certainly you've hit on what the 21st century skills are that our workforce needs are demanding of students that are leaving high school these days. Yes. And to me, it's just so exciting that in an elementary school classroom, we're already helping kids gather those skills, learn how to interact in more collaborative ways, become critical thinkers, problem solvers, and apply that knowledge. It makes me want to go back to school, try it all over again. Yeah. I would be remiss not to hit on some of the more creative side of what we're doing in school with kids. So Susie, tell us a little bit about the arts at Upper Blue, and certainly what we often call specials at the elementary schools, but what else we're offering kids.
So we're really fortunate in Summit County because at each of the elementary schools we have visual arts, we also have music programs, we offer Spanish, which starts in kindergarten.
Terrific.
Yeah, and we also offer technology. So those are what every student goes to for 60 minutes a week, depending on the class. Some classes are 30 minutes and they go twice a week. At Upper Blue, they go to art class for an hour a week, which is great because we really get messy and it gives them time to really get into their projects. So it's really exciting.
That's good, and a nice way to also utilize some of those 21st century skills in different environments and with
absolutely. Because as a PYP school, all teachers are PYP teachers, which is the primary years program. Good. So it is important that a component of the PYP program is that second language, which is the Spanish being taught at Upper Blue and throughout the county. So that's how we do it.
That's awesome. Great. Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about our International Baccalaureate program and how it is making a difference for kids at Upper Blue Elementary. Hi, I'm Julie McCluskey, and I'm here again with our friends from Upper Blue Elementary talking about the wonderful programs and learning that's happening at that school. And I'm going to talk now about our International Baccalaureate program. We are an International Baccalaureate district. All of our schools participate in the IB program. And Susie, maybe to start, you could just describe what is International Baccalaureate. What does that mean? And what does it mean at the elementary school?
Well, so the International Baccalaureate program was started back in the 60s over in Europe with some international schools, and what they really wanted is they wanted to sort of standardize how they were being these individual schools. And so they developed the program called the Diploma Program, and then that evolved into 3 different components, which the MYP, which is the middle years program, which we offer at the middle school, and eventually the PYP program, which is the primary years program, which we now offer at all of our elementary schools, including Upper Blue.
Tell us a little bit about it. What does that mean?
So the primary years program, first of all, to become a PYP school, as we like to refer to it, you have to become authorized. It's not something that you can just, sign up for and boom, you do it. You have to, it's a process. And what it is, it's a framework of how you structure your curriculum. As Kerry mentioned earlier, our curriculum is based around the Colorado state standards. And what we have done over the years is we've really examined closely the state standards, and we've sorted them and divided them into 6 chunks, which we call units of inquiry. And then what we do is through that process, through that unit, is we transdisciplinary, or we interweave math standards and social studies standards and language arts standards and reading throughout the day to really help teach that big idea for that one unit.
Could you give us an example of one of the units of inquiry, just for those folks that might be watching, like, what does that mean exactly?
So really the units of inquiry are big ideas, and they have long central ideas, and of course I cannot just spout one off to you, but they're big conceptual understandings. And so, for example, one that just comes to mind right now, 2nd grade does a unit on weather. And
Great.
So they study the science of it. They write about it. They write poetry about it. They watch the Weather Channel. And then their culminating experiences, they are actually each weather reporters. And so
Right.
there's public speaking, and there's a lot of use of technology in that unit, just learning about weather.
That's awesome. So by taking one big subject matter and then thinking about it through a variety of different lenses, approaches, and then certainly the transdisciplinary, as you talked about.
Right.
How do you think IB benefits a student learner?
Well, I think that really what we're trying to do is help them think conceptually, so that as our curriculum spirals, we're building these hooks that they can create their new learning. Because 2nd grade's not the only time they're learning about weather and the changes of the atmosphere. If you look at the science curriculum in the state of Colorado, that keeps coming up every couple of years. And so we're building upon it, and we're creating those ideas so that they already have this knowledge which they can build upon. That's
Awesome.
really helpful.
Excellent. I know my daughter is now in the DP program, and unfortunately when she was in elementary school we weren't yet at the PYP authorized stage, but it is exciting to me when I go in the buildings now, just the way the students are interacting and thinking, again, that 21st century skills. It very apparent to me that IB is making a difference and has reshaped how we're educating students at the elementary level.
Absolutely. Collaboration is really huge. You don't walk into an IB classroom and see kids sitting in rows, quietly with their hands on their desk.
Right.
They're working together to build their understanding. It's not teacher directed. There is the criteria that the teacher is guiding them towards, but really it's student centered, and students are getting their own knowledge, which
That's
then
great.
it empowers them because they're excited about their learning and they take their learning further.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you. Kerry, tell us a little bit about the IB learner profile. I know that, as IB helps us frame what we are learning in the Colorado academic standards, IB also has, I think, really strong guidance around the character development, character education side. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So we have two things that are built into the IB program that that go, across all the way from preschool through 12th grade. One are the student attitudes, which are reinforced mostly at the elementary level. And then there's the learner profile, which is really our outcomes for our students as soon as they leave Summit High School. And it's really, or 5th grade or 8th grade, thinking about that we want them to be inquirers. We want them to be, those things that are going to lead them into the jobs that they want, that we need as a nation or as a world. But at the elementary level, we do spend a lot of time reinforcing not just what the words mean, because it's hard for a 6-year-old to say, a thinker is, well, that might be an easy one, but what does it mean to show integrity, or what does it mean to
empathy,
be well balanced, or so we spend a lot of time integrating those kinds of terminology, that vocabulary into what we're doing, but we also recognize it. And we know through the PBIS program, which is part of lots of states in our nation, but in Colorado we've had a real push in the last few years, and it's really about that positive behavior support, and it is a perfect blend with our PYP program, because you want to be recognizing what kids are doing well, but then you also want to be supporting them in the areas that they might not be doing such a great job at. How do we help them to be a better communicator, or how do we help them to really develop those skills of being empathetic or things like that? So it's really interwoven. It's not something that's separate from everything that we do. There's a component in every unit of inquiry about the vocabulary we want to reinforce. As a school, we're very committed, which is commitment is one of the words, to recognizing what kids are doing well and then teaching them what they don't know yet. And that's through our academics, that's through character ed, all of those things.
That's great. And I would probably be remiss if I didn't touch on PYP Exhibition.
Yes.
Which is the big event in 5th grade. So Susie, tell us a little bit about what Exhibition is, and even an example or two of what we might see this year at your school.
All right. Well, it's a pretty exciting time. We're right in the midst of it right now, but Exhibition is the culminating project for 5th graders. The requirements that IB have is that any school that is a PYP school, at the end, and for us it happens to be 5th grade, the students have to take everything they've learned and present it. And so basically what the students do is they choose an area that they are interested in, and they create their own unit of inquiry. So what we do at Upper Blue is at the beginning of the year we pass our portfolios. We have PYP portfolios, and what we start to do is we have the 5th graders start to look through them and say, what are you still curious about? What have you learned about that maybe you have some unanswered questions about, or you just need to know a little bit more? And that's how we begin to plant the seed. And then in about December, they start to choose an area which they want to research. They begin the project by researching and writing a research paper. From that, they break into small groups. They continue their research, and come April, I believe it's April 1st this year, they present it to the public.
Great.
So they present their learning to the public. They have to have a technology component in that presentation. Again, there's the public speaking. And from that, they are required to decide how they want to take action, how they want to do something with this new learning.
That's great.
So that is what Exhibition is. And it's a practice for when they become NYP students, because when they are at the final year of their NYP, they need to do a personal project. Now the exhibition is a group project with a lot of collaboration, which is really challenging.
I bet.
As you know, as an adult, sometimes it's easier to do it yourself than it is to work with a group, but it's an important life skill.
Yes.
But then when you get to NYP, it's all you. You have to do it independently. So
That's great.
Yeah.
So a couple of examples, either of you, of exhibition projects going on this year.
Well, we have habitat loss is a big topic of interest right now.
Really?
Yes, and there's a lot of discussion if it's water habitat or land habitat, and are there connections between the two? How could we work together? If what are the commonalities between those two things? We have another group really interested in hunger and poverty. And then we have a third group, it's totally different direction, is interested in digital divide.
Oh, really?
The haves and have-nots.
With technology.
And I think a lot of that's stemming from just park tests coming up, and they're really aware of technology right now at Upper Blue, and they're curious about places in Colorado that might not. I think that's what sparked that interest. But the interesting thing was yesterday we had a big conversation about, okay, so we have six different groups right now, areas of interest. What are the commonalities? And after some discussion, we found that the two commonalities were resources and impact, I believe was the second one.
Impact.
So they're really working on creating their own central idea around the big ideas of resources and impact.
You sound like such big topics for fifth graders.
Right?
I'm really impressed that the students were interested in taking those on. Great. Anything else to add, Kerry, about IB?
Well, for me, I think about, being in education for a long time and think about how the PYP program has really transformed not just the education and what's happening in the classrooms, but also our thinking about kids and about what they need to be and what they need to know. And I think that that's the richness of it all, is that it isn't just about high achievement, which we get. It isn't just about growth, but it is really about the growth of their learning, their curiosity, their readiness to take on the challenges that they're going to face. The world these kids are going to live in is very different than the world we grew up in. And so it's exciting to see that they're getting a different experience to help prepare them.
That is exciting. And like I said before, I want to go back to elementary school. I want to do it all over again. We'll be back in just a moment to talk about some of the really fun and different extracurricular activities going on at Upper Blue Elementary. Hi, I'm Julie McCluskey, and I'm back talking about Upper Blue Elementary School, and now we're going to talk about some of the fun stuff. We've talked about academics, and we've talked about the International Baccalaureate program, and not to imply they're not fun. I know every day at Upper Blue Elementary School is fun, but let's talk about some of those extensions and enrichments and other things that your students are doing. And I want to start maybe with the community partnerships, which, besides our very important businesses and community organizations and youth service organizations out there supporting our kids, we also have our parents and our wonderful families that are there to help kids learn. Talk a little bit about what that means at Upper Blue, Kerry.
Well, and I think that does make a difference, Julie. We have a lot of parents that are hardworking. They're, working long hours, and, they don't always get that opportunity to offer something special, at the school or be at school when we'd like them to be, or, just to volunteer. But what we have had is a lot of interest and support from parents, either in helping with some of our clubs and activities, or also supporting the fact that their children can be at school before and after school, which is a huge commitment from them. We are really lucky. Not only do we have the parent support for all of these things and the community support, but we also have the teacher support. So we have a various kind of mix of who is offering these programs. So for example, guitar is offered. One of our teachers wrote a grant, and this is our third year of offering guitar. We were able to buy guitars, and we offer guitar lessons to students after school twice a week. Awesome. And the reason this is possible is because we have 2 volunteers. Actually sometimes 3. So without that, it just wouldn't be there. And we thought we were going to have to reduce the number of kids, and everybody got on their social networks, and we found another instructor. And they volunteer their time to be with the kids.
So, well, and we had a couple of those students come to the board meeting, and one of them very bravely, after one lesson,
Yes.
played row, row, row your boat. And it was great. It was
I told him I was going to bring him today. he said, should I practice?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was really fun.
Good.
Another example of a community partnership that really has been because we have these devoted community members that just love to work with kids and want to also share their love of science is we have our after-school STEM program. So students are, sometimes they will select what the next unit of study is going to be. Sometimes we select it depending on materials. We have the support of 4-H, and then we have 2 wonderful teachers that help with that, and then we have 2 wonderful community members that come in every week and work with our students in the STEM program.
Wow.
So that wouldn't be possible without volunteers and without some more, the Summit County really support for this kind of learning. Trying to think of other things, we have Chess Club, which the Optimus Club is also a supporter of. I just met with them this morning. We were talking about the chess tournament, and so that happens every week. We have homework club every single day where kids, sometimes they don't come actually to do their homework. They come to have a little extra time to read. Sometimes they come, because parents need to be at work.
Yes.
So we're able to offer that every day at 8 o'clock. And but some kids are getting that support that they need for their homework. Some kids are getting a little extra time to use our technology, which is wonderful because they may or may not have access to it at home.
And during break, we were talking about technology and how certainly it is so critical to student learning now, integrating technology in the classroom and every experience a student has. And I understand that the Upper Blue Elementary School parents have been really supportive of your efforts around technology. Susie, maybe you want to talk to that.
Yeah, we are really, really fortunate at Upper Blue. We have quite a bit of technology. We are well on our way to working towards a district initiative of having one device per student. Absolutely.
That's great.
And so at this point, we are almost there. Every student in our 5th grade has a Chromebook, which they use on a daily basis. It's pretty amazing. They keep them inside their desk and then they pull them out and they just pop them open and they get right to work. And it's a way, we're not completely paperless in the 5th grade, but it's pretty close. And that's how they turn in their assignments, a lot of their assignments, and communicate back and forth with their teachers.
Oh, that's great. It's certainly, again, preparing those students for what lies ahead in the workplace.
Absolutely. We have a computer lab, which the students come in and out of, and we also have iPads in every classroom.
Great.
We have about 5 iPads in every classroom, and in addition to that, we have 3 iPad carts with 25 iPads in each cart. So as you can see, we're really, really close. And that wouldn't be possible if we didn't have amazing parent support that we've purchased over time. So
yes, it's great to hear, and I know across the district we are certainly striving to get to that point where access to technology is there's no barriers, there's no gaps. Students have that ability both in school, during the school day, and outside of school. So good job, Upper Blue. Any other, I should ask you about the elephant art. There's a group at Upper Blue that is just spreading the love with art. Tell me about this group.
So this is the Art of Giving.
Art of
That
Giving.
is the name of the club, and this is its 2nd year, I think. And it was really born out of the love of one of our teachers who loves to spread the cheer to everybody, and knowing also her connection with kids, knowing that there are so many things that kids want to be involved in and create. And so it's really an integration of being really creative, but everything that they make in their Art of Giving Club is given to somebody. So there's always a purpose to what they're doing. For example, the elephants that they did for the school board, they wanted, we had some kids that were super excited about elephants, and so what the teacher did is said, well, so what would that mean? And they did some research and they looked at, so what do elephants signify? What is a way that we could give to somebody that has something to do with this art project? So they're constantly involved in looking for really the avenues to spread the love, but also letting kids be really creative.
That is awesome.
And then the other club that's similar to that in terms of the creativity is our choir. We have 72 kids in choir this year. No,
that's great.
So that's been a little crazy in the music room on Thursday mornings, but they came and sang for the school board. But it's wonderful to see boys and girls involved in choir, and they lead then all of our little things that we do throughout the year, and just spread the good cheer too.
Is terrific.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, exciting to hear all of this, and certainly Upper Blue Elementary, one of our most favorite schools. And I want to end by giving a shout out to Phoebe, one of our students over at Summit Cove Elementary School, who is working on her 5th grade PYP exhibition, and asked everyone in Summit School District, actually in the entire county, to wear red today in honor of Stop Bullying Summit County. So good job, Phoebe. We're glad to see that your work is spreading throughout not only your school, but throughout the entire community. This has been a great overview of Upper Blue Elementary School, and please join us again for another Summit School District Spotlight. We'll be hitting other schools in the future and other programs. For any information about the district, please visit our website. Thank you.